massa fest nu när dessa dagar.
För exakt ett år sedan stod vi i Köln med Rögles sportchef Chris Abbott när han myntade de numera klassiska orden "We're here to win the championship". Exakt ett år senare, hur har Rögle förändrats som klubb sedan dess?
I think the difference this year is we've been playing, a full season behind us as a staff. We have, a group that's played with those expectations of winning, and I think they're going to be more mature. I think we're going to have a higher expectation within our group of each other, and look forward to that resulting in, even more progress as far as our performance on the ice and our results. So I want our club, and I expect our club to be a winning team and to be seen as a winning team and to see ourselves as a winning team. And I think we're doing that and have done that now.
Men ingen har någonsin sagt de orden i Rögle tidigare. När du och Cam började prata om det, hur togs det emot? Internt och utanför klubben?
I think very positively. We had a lot of good support in making that, putting those expectations forward and making them public. We need to be bold enough and brave enough to say that, and I think that's caught on as well. We've got a lot of great support from within the organization and outside, and you see it with the fans and their interest around the club. I mean, you guys see it in your interest around the coverage of our team, and that is the expectation now. And I think that's been adopted, and we're hoping to even grow that interest and that expectation even further.
Var det en medveten strategi från dig och Cam och höja ribban, eller blev det bara så när ni gick in i säsongen?
Yeah, I think naturally, that's Cam and myself and our whole staff. That's who we are as competitors. We're doing this to win, and otherwise, why else do it? And our organization has in turn adopted that philosophy as well, and we're set on doing that, and I'm very confident that's going to happen. So it's been a process. Change takes time for sure. It's a culture change, but we've got a lot of the pieces in play that we have wanted to put in the right spots, and I think that's started off with having a foundation of players from the local area that are now home. And I think of guys like Ted Britten and Matthias Holgren and Daniel Czar and Nicholas Hansen and Everberg, and the list goes on. So I'm very excited to be able to say that those guys are part of the hockey club now, and that is going to go a long way to creating a very sustainable future for our club.
Om vi bara backar lite, det började väldigt dåligt när SHL drog igång förra säsongen. Med facit i hand, var det fortfarande rätt att höja ribban och sätta den pressen på laget? Eller borde ni ha väntat?
Yeah, I think the start, to last season in the SHL was not the beginning that anybody wanted or expected, but in a lot of ways I thought it helped grow our team as a group. We had a lot of adversity to start the year. I think to go 0-6 or whatever it was is not ideal circumstances for sure after a strong preseason. But like I said, I think we came together as a group, and in fact, by a lot of measures, we were playing very good hockey, considering that Matthias wasn't in the lineup and Matt Anderson wasn't available, and so I think it really brought us, strengthened our group in a lot of ways. We'd prefer not to have that start this year of the SHL, but that's one thing, and we'll talk about it later. For us to have a longer-term perspective, it is a long year. There are ups and downs during the season, and to keep that in mind all the time.
Frölunda och Djurgården spelade SM-final. Ni besegrade dem under säsongen. Vad har de klubbarna som ni fortfarande saknar?
Consistency. I think they had depth, maybe more depth through the lineup, and having said that, the difference between teams in the SHL has never been, there's never been more parity for me, having been in a part of the league for the last 10 years, 11 years, and had that privilege to compete as a player and now as a sport chef. I see that there's a lot of opportunity for teams to win, and there's not a huge gap between the top and the bottom. So I think we're right there, and we've got to put ourselves in a position to compete at the end of the season.
Vad gör ni rent konkret för att komma närmare det här målet om SM-guld?
That's a good question, Daniel. I think we've tried and identify that as a staff. I think a big part of that is personnel, and then developing that culture within the team, within the organization of excellence. And you see that with the top teams in the league. they have that, and regardless of the players that come in, they have that. It's kind of in the walls. If you talk about Frölunda, they've been very successful, and they have a team of very good players for sure, but they combine to make more than the whole, and more than the parts that make it up. So it's that's something that we're working on, and I think we're making strides in the right direction there.
Om du tittar på den truppen ni har nu och jämför den med förra säsongen, så vilka skillnader finns?
Well, I think it's a little premature for me to answer that question. We have our first game today, and I think over the next couple of weeks and through the first games in the season will be more easy to identify what are the differences. But I see perhaps maybe some more depth up front. I think of having a guy like Dennis Everberg in the lineup is going to create a big guy in front of the net for us, very strong with the puck. So I think and along with other players, have given us more of a scoring threat through the lineup. On defense and goaltender, there's a lot of changes, so we'll see how things shake out. But I'm very positive right now on the group we have.
Vi räknade lite och det är över 15 spelare som har lämnat, om man tittar på vilka som spelar förra säsongen. Var det en medveten strategi att göra en stor förändring, eller blev det bara så?
I would say no, not the intention. We want to have continuity from season to season and build something. Things do happen through the course of the year, and they seem to happen early on where you have players injured or that don't work out, that decisions need to be made. So I'm sure there are clubs with maybe more personnel changes. For sure there's some with less, but the intention is to take the team we have and move through the season with those players and respond to any changes that need to be made as they happen.
Hur jobbar du då långsiktigt med det här laget? Hur långt fram blickar man? Hur långt fram tittar du när du bygger?
Yeah, well, I think that's the challenge as a sport chef of a team here. You're the one that has to have the long-term vision, the one eye on the future and one eye on now. And the coaching staff obviously have a little bit different agenda. They're looking to win the next game and the next 3 points. And I need to have and our whole staff need to have a longer term vision about the development of players, about recruiting, and also with respect to our team as a whole, and making sure that we're at the top level come the end of March.
Men det var din första hela säsong som sportchef förra. Hur har du planerat att förändra din roll nu?
For me, it's about learning and developing. I think just as with players, I had been new to this role coming in, and I think now I've taken a lot of ideas and perspectives from different successful general managers in different leagues, and in this league that I've been a part of as a player, and seen how they work. And I think one thing I have to really focus on is to not be consumed with the up and downs of a season in each game. Of course, we're all very passionate about the outcomes of games and if a situation with a referee or what have you. But the big thing is to stay calm and have a kind of a long-term perspective, and not have the peaks and troughs, and have a very stable platform for everybody else to feed off of. And for me, that's a big challenge, but I think I'm moving in that direction. So just to be more calm, I have the luxury of being able to see things from above, and I've got to continue to do that and see them not just from the game to game, but longer term.
Förra året stod där och sa we're going to win the championship. Det är stort intresse kring laget, många är nyfikna nu när det drar igång på allvar. Vilken målsättning ska det här laget ha i vinter?
We have the goal of winning the championship this year, absolutely. And I hope I want every player in that dressing room to have that same goal. It's going to be a journey for sure. There's going to be a lot of things that happen along the way, but our plan is to assemble, and as I believe we have done, assemble the team that's able to compete for that championship, and for our players and coaches to put ourselves in a position at the end of the year to give ourselves that opportunity. And that means playing strong through all different parts of the year. I think having a good start definitely helps. Points seem to be a lot tougher to get come February and the start of March. So to really focus on having a strong start to the season, and make sure that we're ready to allow ourselves the opportunity to compete at the end of the year for a championship. And that's regardless of where we finish, to make sure we're playing our best hockey at that time, and guys are healthy, and a lot of things have to happen and come together at the right time for sure. But I think there are things we can do along the way to make it more likely that we're successful.
Perfekt. Då rullar vi igång hockeysäsongen 2019-2020. Redo för en lång hockeysäsong?
Absolutely. Ready to go. Fully charged.
Och följ helgens aktiviteter från Köln på hd.se. Vi sänder alla matcher och vi kommer tillbaka med andra gäster härifrån vid ett annat tillfälle.